Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to another I Tell Eats and Treats video where we prioritize health and longevity. But today we're talking about something different. I'm going to show you how to become a Jamaican citizen. So first I would like to say that being Jamaican is not just about being born there and having like the mark on your arm and all the whole heap of something. Being Jamaican is an ethnicity, and a lot of Jamaican people like to really look down upon those of us that were born in Canada, the USA, and the UK as if we had a choice to be born a foreign. But I just want to let people know the difference between being Jamaican as an ethnicity and being Jamaican as a nationality. There's a difference. I feel like as adults, we should know that difference, but a lot of us don't know, which is kind of embarrassing. I'm not gonna get into it because I don't have time for that, but I would just like to say that. So I'm gonna show Una how I was able to become a dual citizen of Jamaica and the USA. It's very easy actually. You're gonna see how quick and easy and simple it is, whether you came from Instagram or you're just wanting to know how to do it. I'm gonna take you through the step-by-step process, everything that you need, and also how much it costed me. If you're more of a visual person, you can go ahead and check out my blog post that will be linked in the description box down below. The Jamaican Constitution states that if a person is born outside of Jamaica to two Jamaican citizens, that means that they are also considered a Jamaican. So because both of my parents are born and raised in Jamaica and they acquired, US citizenship, whatever, they came here and gave birth to me, I was considered a Jamaican citizen at my birth, but my parents didn't know, and I also didn't know. I didn't know until I was 22 years old, which is when I got my citizenship, like about 6 or so months ago. If you have one Jamaican parent, you can still get Jamaican citizenship. If you only have Jamaican grandparents, or if you only have one Jamaican grandparent, you can still get Jamaican citizenship. This is all goes back to the Jamaican Constitution. All of this was put into place about in 1962, so it goes into the Constitution. You can look at it if you want to. If you're one of those super bad mind Jamaican people that think that we don't belong, look into the Constitution, try to prove our forefathers wrong. You can't do it. Anyways, let's get into what we need. The first thing that you're going to need is your birth certificate. You need an original copy. This is very important. You cannot go to FedEx or go to your printer at your house and make like a copy. No, you need the original copy. So if that means that you need to go to whichever state that you were born in, or if you're in Canada, whichever province, I don't know how it works in the UK, you need to go to wherever it was and get an original copy if you do not feel comfortable going with your copy. So no photocopies of anything. Everything must be the original, okay? This is very important because they will turn you around. Next up is you need the original copy of the birth certificate of either your mother, your father, or a grandparent, whichever one it is. If your mother's last name is different on her birth certificate, and obviously it will be, she's not married when she was born, you need to have a marriage certificate that states the name change, right? Because my last name is my dad's last name, and my mom still obviously has my dad's last name, but when she was born she had her maiden name. So make sure you either have a marriage certificate or a divorce certificate that shows, yes, there was that name change, because they need to see, is this your mother? How is this your mother? There's a different last name, if that makes sense. Once again, this needs to be an original copy. It cannot be a photocopy that you do yourself. It needs to be original. When it comes to the birth certificate that you're using for your Jamaican relative, you need to make sure it's readable. My mom's was pretty old, and I was really nervous because I was already in Jamaica at the time, in Kingston, and they were trying to tell me that they couldn't read it, so they wouldn't be able to use it. Don't let them pressure you, okay? Stand on your business. It was readable to another person, so they were able to use it. But if the unfortunate situation happens, there's another place, I think in Kingston or in Montego Bay, that you can go to and have them give you an original copy of a person's birth certificate that was born in Jamaica. You're going to need 2 passport-sized photos. So if you're going to Jamaica to do this, like I personally did it, because it was cheaper for me to do it in Jamaica, and it took like a little bit over 2 weeks for the citizenship and for the passport. If I were to do this in the US, it would have taken me about 4 months, which is a big difference. If you're doing this in Jamaica, go ahead and leave everything for Jamaica. Like, do not do your passport size photos in the US or Canada or the UK, because Jamaica, their standards might be different. They're very, very, very particular. One person was saying I needed to wear like a specific color. It must be a specific size. You cannot smile in your passport photo or your citizenship certificate photo. You cannot smile in either of them. So if you take a photo abroad and you bring it to Jamaica and you bring it to Kingston and you show it to them and you're smiling, they're gonna say, no, you have to do it again. So it's super cheap. I think it cost me 700 Jamaican dollars for like 10 photos. If you've got a relative, you got an auntie, uncle, if you got your parents in Jamaica, they will know where to go. Just trust them. Here's the next part that was the most stressful for me because I didn't really know. You need to have those 2 passport photos and your application. So you need 2 things signed. You need both passport photos signed, and you need your application for your citizenship and for the passport signed by either a lawyer, commissioner of oaths, a doctor, a notary public, or a justice of the peace. I personally did justice of the peace because, like I said, I was in Jamaica and my auntie just knew somebody, so they were able to do it, like rush to do it, help me with it before the office in Kingston closed. So if you're doing it in Jamaica, I would say a JP or justice of the peace is probably the most accessible one. I'm not too sure how it would work if you're doing it abroad. You'd have to find a doctor or a lawyer or whoever it could be. But let me stress the importance to you one more time. Please make sure you get both passport photos signed, and it needs to be the same person that's signing your passport photos and the same person that is signing your application. Okay, so if you're doing this abroad, let's say that you have your passport photos and you print out the application or you get it from the embassy. The embassy is in Washington, DC, by the way. You need to make sure it's the same justice of the peace, lawyer, notary, whoever it is that is signing both of these things. And the reason why I suggest to do it in Jamaica is because if you're doing this abroad, it just takes so much longer. If you do something wrong, they're gonna ship it back to you. Shipping it back might take a week or even 2 weeks as is, and it's just back and forth in the mail, back and forth in the mail. And I didn't really feel comfortable like giving my original birth certificate in the mail like that, especially with USPS. So a whole heap of something get lost all the time. It's up to you though. Just do what you can do. If you can take 2 weeks, 3 weeks off and work abroad and go to Jamaica, do it. If you cannot, it's totally fine. Just be aware it's gonna take a little bit more time. So to prove you are who you say you are, you're going to need identification. I think you can use a driver's license, but I personally just use my US passport. It just shows I am me. It shows I was born in New York. It shows my last name and everything. And that was pretty simple. That was pretty easy. The next thing that kind of stressed me out a little bit was that they said that they needed your Jamaican parent or whoever it is that you're applying for, they needed their Jamaican passport to prove that they are Jamaican. And that stressed us out because we couldn't really find my mom's Jamaican passport. This proved to be false. I called the embassy in Washington, DC, and it said, no, you do not need the Jamaican passport. You just need some sort of identification that shows this individual was born in Jamaica. So you can use a US passport, Canadian passport, or UK passport, as long as it says place of birth, Jamaica. Okay, place of birth says Jamaica. Very important. When I was in Kingston, they personally did not even need to see it, but that could be very different if you are doing it abroad and you're shipping everything in the mail. When you're doing everything in the mail, you want to make sure you have everything because it will just make the process so much longer. If you forget one thing, they ship everything back to you. You have to ship it back out again, you know. So I did everything as an adult. I was 22 years old when I did this. I'm now currently 23. So it is a bit different for minors, people who are 18 and under. So if you're applying for yourself and a minor or only for a minor, you're going to need some sort of legal document that says this child belongs to you. You are this person's guardian. Let's say your child is adopted or something and you're trying to get it for an adopted child. You're going to have to show that legality of name change. You're going to need some sort of legal document that proves that that is your child or that is the young minor who you have legal guardianship over. Now let's go ahead and talk about how much everything costed me. This was surprisingly pretty affordable. Everything costed me less than $200 when doing it in Jamaica. I believe it will be a bit more expensive if you're doing this abroad, maybe like $300. more in Canada and the UK. I think it would be less because the pounds are much stronger than the US dollar. So let's break down the process. The longest part for me was the citizenship. The citizenship was about 15 days, and my passport, once I'm a citizen, I can roam about Jamaica, you know, just like I'm another person. You know, it was really easy to get the passport. The part that took the longest was the citizenship. Like I said, citizenship was not hard, was not difficult. It was extremely easy. Just takes a little bit of patience. So if you're applying in Kingston, Jamaica, you have two prices. If you would like to get it done within 1 month or about 30 business days, it will cost you 10,000 Jamaican dollars, which is about 64 US dollars. If you would like it shorter and about 15 business days, excluding Saturdays and Sundays, this will cost you about 15,000 Jamaican dollars, which is about 98 US dollars. I personally did 15 business days. I only had about like a month and a half in Jamaica. I could have stayed longer, but I wanted to enjoy summer with my friends here in Atlanta, so I didn't want to be away for the whole entire summer. So I personally did 15 business days. I'm pretty sure that they approved it the day after I did it, because when I went to pick up my citizenship, the date that signed literally said the day after I went. So it could be less than 15 days. It really could be. You never know. And also, if you do a month, if you're willing to risk that, it could be they could get it done in 15 days as opposed to 30 days. It's really up to you and how much time you have in Kingston. And the last step is the passport. So once I had my certificate, obviously you have to be very careful with it. That's an original copy, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to spend money if you ever lose that. So keep it safe, lock it up, put it in a fireplace, waterproof place, put it somewhere very safe. There are multiple prices for multiple budgets for a Jamaican passport. The cheapest one is about 6,500 Jamaican dollars for 7 business days, which is about 42 US dollars. And the most expensive one is about 16,500 Jamaican dollars. This is the same business day. This can obviously only be done in Kingston, and you have to go before 10 a.m. and you would come back around like 2-3 p.m. They're gonna give you a specific time. That is for people, you know, uptown Jamaicans, them have money and stuff. There's a difference in between prices and between priorities. I personally did not need it the same day. It was not necessary for me to rush and get it that quickly. So I did the one that was rushed next day. It was 11,500 Jamaican dollars, or about 75 US dollars. Like I said, if you're getting this done in Canada, the USA or UK, it's gonna be different if you're doing it in foreign. It's gonna be different if you're doing it abroad. So just keep that in mind. Keep the prices in mind. Like I said, if you're more of a visual person, I will have a fully detailed blog post with links and everything linked on my website and in the description box down below. And I hope this has inspired you to truly tap into your Jamaicanness. I've been visiting Jamaica ever since I was a child. I literally have so much love for my country. I have love for the good. I recognize the bad, and we all know there's a lot of bad in our country. The corruption of politics, the dirty, nasty gangs, and everything. Like there's a lot going on in Jamaica that can be fixed, but I recognize all of it, and I want to be closer to my country and closer to my culture. So before I end this video, I want to quickly and briefly talk about some benefits to having a Jamaican passport. So a lot of people will be like, why did you get a Jamaican passport? It's useless. You can only go to so-and-so countries, and you're American. Just let's respect our country. Let's recognize our country for the greatness that it is. There's a reason why Christopher Columbus went and thieved all that gold that was there. Our country is very rich in minerals. It's very rich in gold. When I was doing like a tour this past summer, just driving around Jamaica, I could see all the mining that was going on. Our country is rich. Our country is so rich in natural resources, but I feel like sometimes we can't see it for ourselves. That's why there's a lot of foreign investments. So that goes to rule number 1. I can now invest in Jamaica as a local person. It's going to be a lot easier to invest, whether that might be investing in real estate, investing in a business, or investing in whatever it might be. Investing is a lot easier as a local. Real estate. If you've ever read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki, he talks about one of his most important assets, and one of the best ways to make money money being real estate. So if you are able to buy like a townhouse or somewhere in Jamaica for about 100,000 US dollars and you're able to lease that out, you're making residual income on and on and on and over again. And you could be living in the US, you could be living in Canada, you could be living in the UK. So real estate in Jamaica is pretty big, and you want to make sure you get your hands on some before everything's bought out. It's a small country. Next things next is getting some land. I always say the richest people are not necessarily rich in designer clothes. They're rich in land. They're rich in things that cannot be taken away from them. These diamonds can get lost. These designer clothes can get torn. Once you have land, that land is literally yours forever. So having land in Jamaica is so powerful. Having land that is yours, that can be passed on from generation to generation to generation, is a very powerful thing. And you're very privileged to say that this piece of land, this is mine. This land belongs to my family and no one can take it away from me. That's another benefit of being a Jamaican citizen. I feel like another one that is obvious is going to Jamaica as a Jamaican. You don't have to have a return flight. You don't have to leave after 3 months. You can just sit down and enjoy yourself. When you're going to the airport, they don't ask you for a return flight, whatever, you know, that's pretty awesome. Also, when you're going, you go in the local line. I remember coming off my flight. The foreign line looked like it was gonna take about an hour. I just went in the Jamaican line. I was out within 5 minutes and I went straight to get my bags and everything, and I didn't see people for my flight for probably like the next hour. Another thing is you obviously get local discount on everything. I remember going to, I forgot where it was. It was some sort of waterfall in Portland, but I was able to pay the local price by showing my ID. So if you're a person that visits Jamaica a lot, like me, I visit Jamaica a lot. I like to go a couple times per year. You can get local prices on everything. Next things next is you can get a TRN number. This TRN number is kind of similar to a social security number in the US. And this number will allow you to really get into finances of Jamaica, opening a bank account. I believe one of the best banks in Jamaica is Scotia Bank. As a person that travels to Jamaica so often, and we know that Jamaica is mostly a cash-based society, always taking out at the ATM, my bank charges me a $5 fee on top of having like another $5 fee from Jamaican banks. That's $10 every time you want to take out at the ATM. So you can open up your own bank account, not just with Scotia, with whoever you decide to. That will save you a whole heap of money and it would just be so much easier for you. As a Jamaican citizen with a Jamaican passport, you can travel to other CARICOM countries. CARICOM stands for Caribbean Community, so you can travel to all those other countries and you can also join their lines in the airport. For example, when I went to St. Lucia, there was a foreign line and then there was a CARICOM national line. So even if you weren't from St. Lucia, as long as you had a passport that said Caribbean Community CARICOM, you're able to join the short line. And I felt so weird because I was like, I'm literally Jamaican. I was too lazy to get my passport, so now I have to wait in this line. That was another thing that really encouraged me to want to get my passport. I'm not too educated on this topic, but you can also work in other CARICOM countries. Just to be specific, not all Caribbean islands are parts of CARICOM. Some countries that are in CARICOM include Trinidad, Haiti, a couple other places, but places like Cuba, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, these are not CARICOM countries. Just keep that in mind. With that being said, there are so many other reasons why it's such a blessing and a privilege to be a dual citizen and be able to have Jamaican citizenship. If you find it important, then that's beautiful. I think you should get it. If you do not see the value in your country, then only therapy can help that, I guess. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions or concerns, leave a comment down below and I will definitely try to help you out with that. Thanks for being here. I'll see you on the next video. Bye!